Folks, welcome back. More racial discord in South Africa, this time near Kroonstad, where the economic freedom fighters have demanded justice for a Kroonstad farm murder case involving a secret burial after a person who was attacking a farmer was shot and killed by the farm owners on the 11th of July, 2025, it's alleged. The body later buried in an unmarked grave. Now, this was from a statement by the Free State Provincial Secretary Bosanku Msamanga, criticized the police for the reluctance to make arrest in this situation. The economic freedom fighters in the Free State have also threatened to shut down the medical practice of a Kroonstad doctor whose grandson they are accusing of committing the shooting and killing the man and burying him in an unmarked shallow grave on the farm. Members of the party held demonstrations outside the surgery calling for justice, threatening the livelihood of a man who is not convicted of a crime. This is typical conduct from the EFF. Convict, then try. That is their approach. People are innocent until proven guilty. However, in this case, it appears that guilt may be very obvious. The economic freedom fighters in the Free State have expressed deep shock over a disturbing incident on a farm near Kroonstad on the way to Velkom, where a person was shot and killed by the farm owners on 11 July 2025. The victim's body was secretly buried in an unmarked grave, only to be discovered later by police following a confession from a farm worker who helped dig the grave and bury the corpse. Well, my first question is, how stupid are people to involve other parties in burying the body of a person? That just doesn't make any sense. If you're going to commit a crime, then that's pretty stupid to involve other people in it. Now, the secret burial, apparently, according to one of these multiple media reports, I'm still waiting for the reports of the murder of my friend's family on a farm outside Brits just a few weeks back, a couple months ago. Didn't get widespread coverage yet. This story, because it's racial and because the person that was shot is black, presumably, the media are all over this. And they're going to, of course, use this to show that farmers are abusive towards their farm workers when that's such a rare incident. And they're going to ignore the plight of farmers, farm workers, and farm managers who are attacked by farm assaults and farm attacks and farm murders by trying to play this story up, which is what they'll do. And they'll try to undermine the refugee program with this nonsense. So this is a quote, a direct statement from one of these websites. The secret burial in this recent case adds a layer of horror, reminiscent of the historical injustices where bodies were hidden to evade accountability. The farm worker's confession was crucial in uncovering the grave, but the EFF questions why this has not led to swift arrest. The belief that delaying action allows evidence to be tampered with and undermines public trust in the justice system. Well, I don't disagree with any of that other than the historical aspect of it. And you might wonder, why would the farmer not have contacted the police? Well, we've seen repeatedly when someone defends themselves with deadly force, which is authorized under the law, they're charged with murder and then have to prove themselves innocent. So it's understandable that you would not want to call the police. Doesn't justify the action, doesn't make it right, doesn't make it moral, but it does explain why it's likely that it didn't happen. Beyond that, the circumstances could be anything. Maybe it was an unjust killing. Maybe it was unwarranted. Maybe they just feared the police would threaten them, which we know SAPS does. EFF Free State Deputy Chairperson Thomas Makanangwe confronted the doctor who is the grandfather of the alleged killer. Why are you confronting this old man? He's not alone. Newsroom Africa went to the guy's farm, trespassing the farm, denied they were trespassing. Watch the video on their website. I'll put the link below this. They were on his property. It doesn't start at his gate. It starts at the road. They trespassed on his property, brought an EFF starving, victim of apartheid on there. Guy's really suffering if you watch the video. To trespass on his property, stuck microphones in his face, interrogated. The man should have just shut up and walked away. And I'll explain why later on. He's going to hang himself. They went there and harassed the doctor, and this is why you should not address these people. EFF said, so there are 6 people, and then he shot at them, and then he killed one of them. What happened to the body? Now, the first question is, why were there 6 people on his farm? Because they were attacking the farmer. That's why. But that's not even in the story. Not even a discussion of self-defense, not a discussion of the right to defend one's property. Dr. Kroonstad, what happened to and he paused. The EFF says, to the body of the dead man. Dr. Kroonstad said, the body of the dead man? The EFF says, yes. Dr. Kroonstad, yes, I know I did a wrong thing. I should have called the police. Well, Dr. Kroonstad, not a very bright statement to make. Not a very bright statement to make. EFF, so you admit you buried the dead man. Trotsky said, yes, if I didn't bury him immediately, the jackals would have eaten him, but I should have called the police. And therein you have it. Mr. or Dr. Trotsky has apparently, at least in the presence of people threatening and harassing his livelihood and his welfare, has admitted to burying the body of the person. So it is disturbing in so many aspects. Number one, that these farm attacks go unreported and that the EFF never showed up on his door when he was shot. The doctor was shot on the farm by farm attackers. And the EFF never showed up in protest to the attack on the farmer because they don't care about farmers. They're black supremacists who only care about demonizing white people. Now, that doesn't excuse what happened here, and there does need to be a thorough inquest, a thorough investigation as to what happened here and why it wasn't reported to the police. At a minimum, the people responsible should be charged with falsely burying that person. There are charges related to that and not making a report to the police. I'm sure there is some charge to that. Whether it was self-defense or it was justified or it was justifiable is a whole other story. And perhaps that investigation is underway. We don't know because the EFF, this is what they do. They stoke racial tension and racial hatred. Now, no doubt there's an element of race involved here. Most likely the attackers were black and they were buried to avoid the police arresting someone for defending themselves, is my expectation. But the conduct of the EFF is reprehensible here. They should be at the police station or at the prosecutor's office. That's where they should be, not harassing an old man, not threatening an old man. And Newsroom Africa is a disgrace. These are the same people who've slandered and libeled me on multiple occasions, lying about things said, and then making up news, fake stories, lying about what I said. Yeah, so they are shameful, shameful, shameful. And it's funny because they've actually done some good reporting in the past, Newsroom Africa. I've given them credit in the past when they've done good news reporting. But in the past year, it's mostly been all slanted one way. The EFF is shameful. This incident is horrible, and it will be misused to mischaracterize what's happening in rural South Africa. And that's a shame. Because the police, if they had the support of the commandos, who were immorally disbanded by the cowardly African National Congress under a false pretext, a false premise, they would be able to do a better job providing security in rural areas. As it is, the police are a hindrance to security. They don't have cars. They don't respond. They threaten people when they come to file a case. What would you do? What would you do if you've been shot on your property, 6 people break into your property and come to kill you? Would you sit there and let yourself be slaughtered? Or would you defend themselves? And what business is it of Newsroom Africa to ask John whether he has a firearms or whether they're licensed? None of your damn business. My question to Newsroom Africa is, do you have a brain? Can you think cogently? Apparently not. What say you, South Africa? Mzansi. Cheers.